Have you ever felt a profound, almost cosmic pull towards another? A connection that feels pre-written in the stars, only to watch it crumble into the painful dust of misunderstanding and heartache. Have you stood amidst the ruins of a relationship, wondering how something that felt so destined, so divinely orchestrated could lead to such an overwhelming tempest of sorrow? You are not alone in this sacred questioning. This experience is not a sign of your failure, but a powerful signal of your soul's awakening to a deeper, more profound truth about the very nature of love itself. So many of us spend our entire lives on a desperate pilgrimage, searching for a holy grail we call love. We seek it in the eyes of another, hoping to find a sanctuary from the sting of solitude, a validation for our existence, and a sacred meaning to our journey. We chase a celestial promise, only to find ourselves entangled in earthly chains. But what if the map you've been given is wrong? What if the love that society sells us, the love of fairy tales and Hollywood endings, is not a beacon of light, but a beautifully crafted illusion, a veil of forgetfulness designed to keep you from discovering the immense, sovereign power that already resides within your own heart? What if the connection you yearn for isn't something you find, but something you must first become? A brilliant, brave soul once dared to tear down the temple of conventional love, not to destroy it, but to reveal the raw, unsettling, and ultimately liberating truth hidden beneath its foundations. His name was Friedrich Nietzsche, and his insights were not mere philosophy. They were a radical call to spiritual sovereignty, a roadmap to a form of connection so pure and powerful it transcends everything you've ever been taught. This journey we are about to embark on together will challenge you. It may unsettle you, but it will also empower you. By the end, you will understand the hidden energetic dynamics that cause so many relationships to fail, why so many hearts are destined to break, and why the very love you have been desperately chasing might be the sacred poison that is slowly, silently destroying your spirit. This is not a lecture. This is an activation. It is the beginning of your liberation. If this deep, resonant feeling strikes a chord within your very soul, acknowledge it now. Let your presence be known by liking this message, subscribing for more truths that will set you free, and sharing your journey in the comments below. Perhaps with a simple "I resonate" or a 777 to signal your alignment with this higher understanding. 2 centuries ago, this spiritual way-shower, Friedrich Nietzsche, did not just question the popular notions of love. He took a hammer to them, dismantling the entire fragile structure piece by piece. He looked straight through the romantic fantasies, the empty promises of a happily ever after, and the deeply ingrained cultural myth that you are an incomplete half, destined to find your other half, to become whole. To Nietzsche, this modern conception of love was not a sacred union. It was the ultimate expression of spiritual weakness. He perceived it as a desperate, frantic attempt to flee from the magnificent, terrifying silence of your own soul. It was an act of outsourcing your happiness, of placing the key to your own inner peace in the pocket of another, and in doing so, giving away the very essence of your divine power. Herein lies the first brutal, liberating truth you must embrace. Most people do not fall in love, they fall in need. They are not drawn to another from a place of overflowing fullness, but from an aching, cavernous void within themselves. They cling to relationships not out of a position of immense strength, but out of a deep, primal fear. What is this fear? It is the fear of being alone with the raw, unfiltered truth of their own being. It is the terror of facing the abyss that opens when there is no one else there to distract them, to validate them, to tell them they are worthy. It is the fear of the profound responsibility of standing alone, as a sovereign creator of their own joy and meaning. Nietzsche identified this state of being with a powerful term, slave morality. This is the mindset of the herd, the collective consciousness that prioritizes comfort over truth, safety over the glorious, untamed wilderness of greatness. It is a low vibrational frequency that whispers a dangerous lie into the heart of humanity, that you are fundamentally broken, that you are lacking, and that your salvation lies in the arms of another. Think about it. How many relationships do you see that begin with 2 whole, independent, sovereign individuals, 2 radiant suns choosing to share their light? And how many begin with two fractured halves, desperately trying to glue their pieces together, hoping that the other person's fragments will fill their own empty spaces? This modern idea of love is built upon a foundation of dependency, a toxic quicksand that inevitably pulls both partners down. We have been sold the lie that we require someone else to complete us, a soulmate to finish our story. But Nietzsche's divine guidance rings with a different, more empowering truth. You must become who you are. The very moment you seek completion in another, you hand them an immense and terrible power over your happiness, your peace, and your very sense of self. And that power, born not of respect but of neediness, will always be abused consciously or unconsciously. This is the hidden energetic root of why so many relationships turn toxic, why passionate flames so often dwindle into the cold embers of resentment, and why couples who once couldn't bear to be apart end up as strangers sharing the same bed. It's not because the love died. The brutal truth is, it was never truly love to begin with. It was simply the desperate, intertwined dance of two people using each other as emotional crutches, each one terrified of learning to walk on their own. As Nietzsche so wisely stated, it is not a lack of love, but a lack of friendship that makes unhappy marriages. True connection is a friendship between two sovereign souls. Nietzsche's most controversial and perhaps most enlightening idea wasn't about God, society, or conventional morality. It was about the raw, untamed, and fundamental force that drives all of existence, desire. He called it the will to power the innate, unconscious, and universal urge within every living thing to grow, to expand, to express its fullest potential, and to overcome resistance. Most people believe attraction is a magical, random occurrence. They speak of fate, of destiny, of a mysterious chemistry that ignites between two people. They see it as something that happens to them, a force beyond their control. Nietzsche laughed at this naivete. He saw the truth with terrifying clarity. Every attraction, every spark of desire, is a power struggle. Every relationship, from the first glance to the final goodbye, is a silent, energetic negotiation of dominance and submission. Here is the unsettling reality that will shift your perception forever. You do not fall for people by accident. You fall for them because of the power they hold over you. Or, more accurately, because of your own perceived lack of power over yourself. You are drawn to those who mirror your deepest insecurities, who challenge your unhealed wounds, and who represent a quality you feel you lack within yourself. Their indifference becomes a mountain you feel compelled to climb. Their validation becomes a prize you feel you must win to prove your worth. This is the subtle psychology of the herd at play, the deeply ingrained instinct to value what is scarce, to chase what is just out of reach, to desire what others desire. Modern dating, with its endless carousel of options on social media and dating apps, has transformed this subtle, energetic dance into an overt and brutal war zone. Indifference has been weaponized. Ghosting, breadcrumbing, and emotional unavailability have become strategies in a game where the illusion of power is the ultimate currency. The less someone seems to need you, the more intoxicating they become. The more they resist your advances, the more desperately you want them. This is not love. This is the ego's addiction to the chase. It is a hunger for conquest, an obsession born from a feeling of lack. This dynamic explains why infidelity is so rampant. People cheat not because they are inherently evil, but because they are starving. They are starving for the thrill of the chase, for the feeling of being wanted, for the intoxicating high of a new conquest that temporarily fills the void left by a relationship built on the sterile ground of security and obligation. As Nietzsche profoundly observed, one loves one's desire and not what is desired. We fall in love with the feeling, the high, the validation that another person can provide. We don't truly love the person. We love the way they make us feel about ourselves. And the most tragic part? The people who wound us the most deeply are often the very ones we grant permission to do so. We hand them the sword, believing their validation will heal us, when in reality, it only deepens the original wound. Deep down, we believe their approval will finally fill the void within our own souls. But it is a false hope. It is a mirage in the desert of our own self-abandonment. Nietzsche didn't just distrust the fleeting emotion of romantic love. He held a profound disdain for the very institution of marriage as it is commonly practiced. This wasn't because he was against commitment, but because he saw the institution for what it so often becomes, a contract of mutual enslavement. It is a deal where, in most cases, both parties ultimately lose. It is a structure where the wild, untamable fire of passion is systematically suffocated under the heavy, wet blanket of duty and obligation. It is a place where two people who once couldn't imagine living without each other eventually end up praying for a secret escape. Here is the brutal truth that no one who has just signed a marriage certificate wants to admit. Modern marriage is very often a graveyard for desire. The very act of vowing forever, of locking in a future with legal and social contracts, kills the very thing it purports to preserve. Why? Because authentic desire, that raw, electric, life force energy, cannot flourish in the sterile environment of absolute safety and predictability. Desire thrives on the edge of uncertainty. It is fueled by danger, by mystery, by the tantalizing and ever-present possibility of loss. When you own something completely, the thrill of the chase dies. The mystery fades. The tension that once electrified every touch, every glance, dissolves into the mundane comfort of routine. And worse, the very security that marriage promises becomes the ultimate killer of attraction. Modern society perpetuates this trap. We are told that wanting more is greedy, that a quiet boredom is the normal state of a long-term partnership, and that the slow, creeping death of passion is just a natural part of life. Nietzsche raged against this soul-crushing lie. He wrote, "The individual has always had to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe. If you sacrifice your own vitality, your own divine spark, for the sake of social approval or the illusion of security, you do not win a prize. You get a tombstone." So what is the alternative? Is it to abandon love and connection altogether? No. Nietzsche's answer was far more radical and infinitely more freeing. It wasn't about destroying love, it was about transcending it. His most profound vision for relationships was not about two halves finding each other to become whole. It was about two sovereign, whole individuals who had first braved the wilderness of their own souls and learned to stand alone, choosing to create a connection so powerful it could only exist between them. This is the key. This isn't just philosophy. It is the missing piece for any relationship that seeks not just to survive, but to truly thrive. Modern love is built on a dangerous lie. The lie that we need another person to complete us. Nietzsche called this the slave morality of relationships, the belief that our happiness is a fragile thing that must come from outside of ourselves. But here is the ultimate brutal truth, the one that holds the power to set you free. Neediness repels, but wholeness irresistibly attracts. Think of the healthiest, most vibrant couples you know. What makes them different? They are not clinging to each other out of fear or desperation. They are choosing each other every single day from a place of immense strength and self-love. As Nietzsche wrote, the individual has always had to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe. The moment you make someone else responsible for your fulfillment, for your happiness, you have already lost. You have placed an impossible weight upon their shoulders, a burden that no human being can bear forever. Nietzsche envisioned what he called the higher marriage, a sacred union, not between two dependent halves making a whole, but between two sovereign beings, two complete wholes, creating something far greater than the sum of their parts. This kind of divine relationship does not rely on promises, laws, or contracts to sustain it. It thrives on constant recreation. It is a dynamic dance of choice. Consider this powerful paradox. The couples who truly last are not those who promise forever. They are those who wake up each day and consciously, freely choose each other anew. Not because they have to, but because they want to. Nietzsche saw with stunning clarity the inherent challenges within the dynamic between men and women. He wrote, "Woman has so much reason for shame. In woman there is so much pedantry, superficiality, school marmishness, petty presumption, unbridledness, and immodesty. which has really been best restrained and dominated hitherto by the fear of man. This is not a condemnation, but a stark observation of societal conditioning. These prisons of behavior, he argued, are not inherent but are built from the outside in. Modern relationships often become cages because we build them on the shaky foundation of security instead of the vibrant, ever-changing ground of aliveness. We tragically mistake comfort for love, routine for commitment, and predictability for passion. So, what is Nietzsche's radical alternative? Live dangerously. Build your relationships on the fiery slopes of Vesuvius, where every day is a conscious choice, not a binding obligation. This means you must never stop becoming. The moment you stagnate, your relationship stagnates with you. Never stop seeing your partner as a sovereign individual who could, at any moment, walk away, not as a threat to be feared, but as a truth to be respected. Never, ever make love a cage. Let it be a sacred dance, a free-flowing river where both partners are free to be their fullest, most authentic selves. And here is Nietzsche's most explosive, life-altering truth. You do not need love to be whole. The most fulfilled, most impactful individuals throughout history, the great artists, the revolutionary philosophers, the fearless warriors, were not those who obsessed over finding a relationship. They were those who were deeply, passionately obsessed with their work, their purpose, their own becoming. To live is to suffer, Nietzsche declared. To survive is to find some meaning in the suffering. This profound insight does not mean rejecting love. It means transforming it from the ground up. When you finally come to a relationship from a place of inner fullness rather than a desperate hunger, you stop fearing loss. You stop trying to control and possess. Instead, you begin to inspire a devotion that is freely given. You create connections that amplify your soul rather than diminish it. So, here we stand, at a sacred crossroads. You have a choice. You can continue chasing the fairy tale, the illusion where love means dependency, where security kills passion, and where comfort is mistaken for connection. Or, you can embrace Nietzsche's terrifying and liberating challenge. A challenge where love becomes a high art, where every day is a new creation, and where two free sovereign spirits choose each other not from a place of lack, but from a place of magnificent, overflowing abundance. The ultimate question is not whether you will find love. It is what kind of person you will be when you do. And Nietzsche's timeless answer echoes through the ages. Become who you are. Do that, and the rest the right relationships, the real connections, the love that truly sets you free will follow. Not because you needed them, but because, in your own wholeness, you finally earned them. This isn't the end of your search. It is the beginning of your creation. The only question that remains is this: do you have the courage to live it?